we're really concerned about our drinking water supply, and we feel that there's a lot of uncertainties that really need to be addressed before we can feel good about something like that happening in our headwaters. So, as I said before, the Potomac is our sole drinking water source, and the George Washington National Forest is in our headwaters. And we know that these forested areas are extremely important for downstream water quality. Of course, the forested watershed is also important for all of that rich ecological function that happens, in the beautiful areas that Dusty was showing us. But again, there's a real trickle-down effect, and we need all of that to be working properly for us to be getting clean water. And of course, any reduction in our source water will affect our customers, not only in potential health concerns if there was some type of a contamination issue or some kind of water quality degradation, but of course, if there were enhanced treatment technologies required, those costs would ultimately get passed along to our customers. So that's certainly something to think about, is what are the economic implications if something like that were to occur. And the other point that Dusty made is that we don't know what types of chemicals are really involved in these practices. We have a good idea of some of the really bad ones that we definitely don't want to see in our drinking water supplies. But the uncertainty of not knowing what these chemicals are makes it extremely difficult to prepare for any kind of response in the event that these chemicals were to get into the water. So that's a really big issue for us, is this sort of unknown of what we would be dealing with. And without knowing that, there's no way to know if our current treatment technologies are sufficient. So we really feel that additional research is needed. Obviously, we have some good case examples out there right now where this kind of extraction activity is occurring, and we're certainly watching these areas closely and trying to learn from various spills like the West Virginia contamination issue to really try and understand how to put ourselves in a better position for any type of contamination, but certainly trying to get a better handle on, where are our vulnerabilities and what kinds of enhancements would we need to make to our current treatment system. And so I think, our stance really at this point is that until it can be proven that there's not going to be a negative impact on our drinking water supply, we will continue to take the stance that in support of the prohibition of hydraulic fracturing in the George Washington National Forest. And I had the pleasure of sitting in on an interview with our general manager, George Hawkins, today, actually speaking with a reporter for Climate Wire. And she asked about the 15-year ban. She said, industry is saying 15 years is too long because, of course, they would essentially, after the plan has been finalized, they don't sort of open it up again for 15 years. And, his response was, 15 years is a pretty small amount of time when you start to think about some of the long-term impacts that could potentially occur, if some kind of, a contamination issue or spill or something like this were to happen. And I think that's sort of the way that we're looking at this, is that we're certainly in no way, shape, or form saying that hydraulic fracturing is not a possible and viable option for the future, but again, until it can be proven that this is not going to cause problems for our drinking water supplies, and of course then cause problems for our customers, then it's not something we can stand behind, because the quality of our product